Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Summers. I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Alright, so today I wanted to go over how to draw a rose. Now this is something that boys and girls ask me a lot, and so I wanted to show you how I do it. I'm going to use a pink marker today, but you can use any material that you happen to have. You can draw in pencil, you can use crayon colored pencil marker, oil pastel, anything you happen to have. I think it's a little easier for you to see my markers, and it adds a little bit of color too. Alright, so I'm going to draw two roses today. So I'm going to draw them next to each other. I'm going to draw them the same way, just so that you guys get a little used to practicing, right? Hopefully you guys can memorize my technique. Alright, so I like to start by drawing a peanut shape. And that's going to be the center of my rose, the middle. And then inside of my peanut shape, I'm going to draw a little circle. It looks a little bit like a bow. And then what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to add one petal at a time going around my center, and I'm going to build it up one outer ring at a time, okay? So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to draw a little bit of a wiggly line starting on one end and going to the next, right? And again, I'm just kind of building up an outer ring. So you can see my next one was touching the first petal that I drew, and I just drew a little bumpy wiggly line around, and I came back to my center shape. I'm going to draw one more, I think. I think I'm going to have 3 petals around my first little peanut shape there, right? So you can see our flower is kind of starting to grow. So we have our inside peanut, little circle inside, and then we have 1, 2, 3 flower petals around. So now I'm going to do my next circle of flower petals, right? And this one's going to have probably more than 3 because we're getting bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and start. And again, I'm just adding a wiggly line. And then my next flower petal is going to be touching the first one that I drew. Adding a little wiggly line, right? I'm going to draw another one here. And then I want to finish that outer circle, so I'm going to draw one more right here. There we go. So again, if I look at the rings, right? I've got my inner circle, my peanut shape. I have the inner kind of ring of 3, and then I've got this new outer ring of 4 petals, right? So I'm going to keep going. I think I'm going to add another one here. My petals are going to get a little bit bigger as I go out. So I added a little bumpy line. I put a little point in my petal. I think that helps to make it look more rose-like. So I have to finish my circle, right? So I think I'm going to do maybe 2 or 3. Let's see. I'm going to do one more to finish here. Yeah, I think that looks nice. If I wanted to make it a little bit bigger, I could do one more outer ring of petals, but I think I like it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch colors now. And I'm going to add some leaves. So I'm going to decide where I want my leaves. I think I'm going to do 2. I'm going to draw one leaf, and I think maybe the other leaf is kind of touching the first. I'm going to draw another leaf kind of tucked behind there. Let's go ahead and give our leaves some details. So I'm going to draw a line down the center, And then I'm just going to add some kind of V shapes. To add some details to my leaves. Nice. All right, so I said that we would practice 2 roses today, so I'm going to switch up my colors again. I think my next rose is maybe a purple rose. And I'm going to draw it just the same way, right? But we're gonna practice our roses here. So I'm going to start out by drawing a peanut shape. And I'm going to add a little circle inside of that. And then the next step is to create the layers of petals, right? So I'm going to start with my first petal, just making a kind of bumpy line. And I'm going to do another one. Right, and you can see that these bumpy lines are different from my other ones here. They don't have to be exact or precise. Your bumpy lines don't have to look exactly like mine. Okay, so again, I drew 3 petals for my inner layer, my inner ring. And now I'm going to go on and do my next ring. These petals are going to be just a little bit bigger. There we go. So I finished my kind of middle layer there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another ring of flower petals around the outside. Now in nature, things are not usually perfectly symmetrical, right? That means the same on both sides. Yeah, so the more kind of wiggly and irregular your lines are, the better actually for this. All right, so I have done my next rose, right? And I'm going to switch up my colors again so that I can go ahead and add some leaves. I'm going to add 2 leaves to this one, but I think they're not going to be exactly touching each other. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other one to add some details. I'm going to draw a line in the center. And then I'm going to draw my 2 little V shapes. So you can see that we have drawn 2 roses, right? Now if you really like, you can go ahead and you could draw more and more, and you could even fill up your page, right? Or you can just stop here. That's whatever you like at this point. But I hope that that little tutorial was helpful. And again, you can always watch the video again if you go on and you kind of forget and want a refresher. But I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, boys and girls.